Hi everyone and welcome to day 4 of the 7-day stretch challenge. I hope you're doing okay and I hope you got on well with the challenge yesterday. Thank you for everyone who liked and shared and sent you comments in as well. So today we're going to continue our theme with the upper body. So specifically we're going to be looking at the chest muscles. Now the chest muscles often do get tight, again going back to this idea of this kyphotic posture, because when we're sitting at our desks we often obviously round forwards through our shoulders. Now I mentioned in previous days that this obviously puts lengthening stress through the trapezius, rhomboid and posterior deltoid muscles, which causes knots and adhesions to occur. But another thing that it does is it shortens the chest muscles as well as we start to internally rotate through the humerus on the upper arm, and that's going to shorten these chest muscles, so the pec major essentially. So we're going to aim at lengthening this muscle out. So this will be good if you do experience sort of tightness in your chest, or if you have experienced any injuries in the past, perhaps sporting injuries, as a result of tight pec muscles. Okay, so the first one that we're going to do is we're going to be lying down on our exercise mats. Okay, and essentially we're going to do a spinal twist. So we're going to move our arm out like so. This is the arm obviously we want to stretch, and to start with we're going to start with palm facing upwards. Now we're going to take this leg on the same side and we're going to thread it over and do a spinal twist. So this is good for sort of mobilizing the back as well, and we're going to do some other similar stretches for this in the coming days. But the main area that you'll probably feel it is into the chest muscle just here. And we're going to hold this for, again, our 60-second plus hold, because it's a static stretch and we want to hold it long enough to get our flexibility benefit. But also we can start to adapt this slightly as well. So obviously at the minute I've got my palm facing upwards, but if we had a bit of tightness into the bicep muscle, so the front of the upper arm, then we can actually target that area by going from palm up to palm down. Okay, so you'll still feel it a little bit in the chest as you do this, but it will intensify slightly into that bicep muscle. So if also remember to have your arm going at a 45-degree angle, because we don't want it down here, because that's not really going to stretch the pec, and we don't want it too high either, because that's going to sort of more stretch into the armpit a bit more. So if we're targeting the chest muscle, want it sort of at that sort of rough 45-degree angle to the shoulder, the arm to the shoulder. Okay, and then obviously we would do that on the other side as well. And then another stretch that we can do is we can revisit the PNF, so proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation technique that we did the other day. So this is the one, if you recall, that involves muscle contractions, so I'll just take you through that again. So for this you'll need some sort of like fence post or doorway or something like that to hold on to, and essentially you're going to put your hand of the arm that you want to stretch. Again, we want to raise it sort of slightly above our shoulder, and we're just going to step forward so that our body is in front of our arm. Okay, we also want to make sure that we're not twisting like this with our opposite shoulder. So if we're stretching our right arm, we don't want our left shoulder to rotate inwards to compensate for lack of flexibility. So if you can't stand with your shoulders nice and square and facing forward, then come out of the stretch slightly, because you're just obviously stretching too much and you're compensating for that lack of flexibility. So find the first point of stretch where you feel like it's uncomfortable but not painful, and that's the sort of maximum you can go. Okay, and then we're going to do our muscle contraction now. So essentially we're going to contract our chest muscle to try and bring this arm forward. So it's as if we're doing this movement, but of course because we're holding on to whatever we're holding on to, no movement is going to occur because it's therefore an isometric contraction. So we're going to do a contraction of around 6 seconds at 20 to 30% of what you say your maximum effort is. Okay, so I'm just going to do that now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you relax, take a nice deep breath in and out, and then we can move forward a little bit. Okay, and then we find our new point of stretch, and then we can repeat that contraction. Okay, so then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then of course we can do up to 3 contractions with that as well. Now what we can also do is we can revisit this idea of reciprocal inhibition. So we're squeezing our opposite muscle groups in order to create a greater stretch in the muscle that we're trying to lengthen. So in this case, of course, the opposite muscles to the chest are going to be the upper back. So we can sort of gently try and squeeze those shoulder blades together. So it's essentially the opposite of that kyphotic posture. Okay? So remember, you don't have to do 3 contractions. You can just do 2 if you want. Don't do 3 if you feel like it's going to take you over that comfortable stretch, okay, or uncomfortable stretch, and it starts to get painful, okay? So I don't want anyone to overstretch themselves. And then, of course, after you've done your last contraction, whether that be 1, 2, or 3, then just hold the stretch for about 20 seconds at the end. Okay, so there are your stretches for today for the chest. Again, as always, like the status, comment, let me know how you got on. Remember the prize draw, of course, to win the £20 gift voucher. In order to enter that, you need to like each status, each video each day. You have to comment on each video, okay, and also preferably, if you can tag some of your friends in your comments and actually share the videos to your friends list just to try and get me a bit more exposure, then that will be great as well. Okay, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 5.